How's it, Oaks? Welcome back to the Straight Line, the show where we talk all things South African road and track cycling. So here we are, Saturday, the 28th of June, for our weekly recap, roundup, what's up, what are South African riders doing all across the globe. So, with it being National Championship weekend or week in Europe, there's not too much going on in Europe as what there normally is. So, on the European side of things, there are riders racing, but nothing too much. There's racing in China, a couple of interesting things that I picked up there. So, let's start off with our women cyclist. Top of the pile here, Ashley Mormont Passio. She's not racing this weekend, but I see she's been training and getting ready for the Giro d'Italia de Femme that starts next weekend. So she's been in Andorra, an altitude training camp, getting ready. She's had done very well in the past. She has won a stage. So she's one of 4 South Africans that have won stages in Grand Tours over throughout cycling South African road history. And we get on to Lisa Ann Lowe. So she had a pretty bad crash 2 months ago where she broke her arm and has been slowly recovering and getting ready. She's actually racing today, 8-kilometer hill climb time trial in Switzerland, and then tomorrow a 107-kilometer race. It's called a Medifondo. Then from that, she's going to shoot over to Portugal next week for the Volta Portugal, obviously the women's edition. It's glad to see that she's back on a bike and back racing. Hopefully the second half of the season she can bring some success and add some value to her career and add some titles along the way. Then Sonara Grove, she's currently back in South Africa. Maddie LaRue, unfortunately, had a bad crash last weekend, so she's out for a couple of weeks. So yeah, on that's pretty much it on the women's side. Then we go on to the men's side. Joshua Dyke, he is racing a one-day race in Spain. I think it is tomorrow, the Albiada. Blaine Kick, he actually he raced a criterium in France last night, a 1.9 kilometer lap with 10 corners per lap, 40 laps. I mean, that's just 80 Ks of left, right, technical, a bloody good result. He came 6th, and once again, Blaine getting into the mix and getting himself very close, if not on the podium the last couple of weeks, getting very close to it. Then over into China, there is a race of this weekend called the Tanfu Greenway stage race. So this morning was a 100-kilometer team time trial. Jose Klainsford and Callum Ormiston riding for the same team, and also picked up there that the current South African road race champion, Daniel Matthews. He's also recently joined the Chinese Pro League and he's racing for Team 711. There's likely to see that there's 3 South Africans trying a non-conventional route to make it in the Pro Series. So it's likely to see 3 of our guys there. Tomorrow is a 105 kilometer race, a 3 laps of a 35 kilometer lap. Callum's been doing very well lately. He's been the longest out of the 3 guys, seems to be finding his feet. Look forward to seeing what these guys do tomorrow, and we can discuss it on our weekly recap on Monday with Steve Saunders. Then on heading again towards Asia, the Tour of King High Lake, that starts next weekend also, and we have 2 South Africans there, Willie Smit and Stefan de Bot. Now, Willie rides for Team China Glory, and Steph rides for his Malaysian team, Tirangu. Now, they are obviously in their last stages of altitude preparation, because King High Lake is, I do speak in a correction, but it's the highest altitude race in the world. It's the lowest altitude I think the guys race at 2,500 meters above sea level, and then they just go way high above that. So that starts next weekend, and that's always a lacquer race to watch. Then we head over to our junior riders. There's been quite a lot happening in Europe with our juniors, and the boys are stepping up. But let's start off here. Jed Bridger in Spain. He's going to be racing tomorrow. 80-kilometer race called Castella. It is a 5-kilometer loop. So that means they're doing it 16 times. And again, it's coming down to circuit racing. So the juniors are racing tomorrow. Well, Jed's racing tomorrow. 80-kilometer race on a 5-kilometer loop 16 times. Then we head over to Holland. We had 11 South African riders on the start line yesterday at the Bestronics Ach van Bladel. It was, it's nice to see a lot of South African guys venturing over to Europe and putting their names out there and putting it out there. Zander Rasmus, flipping brilliant. He had a great stage, ended up running 11th on the stage, but he took the classification in the leading of the Cobbles classification. Yeah, it's lucky to see us, the African guys, getting in there. And then Matthew Horter placed 49th. One thing I noticed about, well, there's got to be said about Matthew Horter. He's been there racing for a while, and it's clearly he understands how things work there, and he's always mixing it and up and all near the front. A couple of the South African guys that have shipped over there, I think they're still trying to find their feet. Very different style of racing, but I think with time and a bit of consistency, the boys they'll definitely step up and get their names all over the lights there. We had Zane Salzwedel rates Hofmeyer, then something very lucky I picked up here. Muhammad Schultz, he's riding from the Velokaya team. They've got a squad over in Holland for, I reckon, probably about 6 to 8 weeks. It's like to see that Muhammad Schultz from Velokaya is also right up there in the mix and finishing the stage yesterday. Then our South African / Bulgarian Nicholas Schultz, not Nicholas Schultz, sorry, Nicholas van der Merwe. He is racing the Bulgarian time trial or Bulgarian championships. He won the time trial yesterday, second in a row. As we speak, he's busy racing the road race. He won the time trial road race last year. He won the time trial yesterday. If he's winning the time trials, he's in pretty good shape, and I think he'll do very well in the road race. Hopefully he can take the title and then earn himself a spot at the European Championships. But guys, that's what I've got for today. Yeah, there's quite a lot happening over the next day or two. And listen to Steve Saunders on Monday, 12:30. We'll recap and touch base on all of this. Until then, Oaks, thanks for listening. Catch you later. Cheers. Bye.